So here's my Uzi that I recommend you unlock the attachments for and should go for. Just I mean, if you're looking for another gun, you don't want to play with the MP5, you don't want to play with the MP7, all the ARs, cool, whatever. You don't have the Fnac unlocks. I would recommend you go for the Uzi. It's super good and comparable, and I'm coming from this from a Warzone perspective because I pretty much only play Warzone, like to actually really sink my teeth in and play. Like if I'm playing multiplayer, like it doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? Like I can play like whatever gun I want. However, what that means is it's kind of like how I just said, like if I'm playing multiplayer, it doesn't really fucking matter. Well, if you play Warzone, it kind of like doesn't matter what gun you're using. If that makes sense. It does, but what I mean is that like here we're splitting hairs between recoil control and the damage and bullet velocity that gives you and the accuracy and everything and the ADS speed, specifically like the ADS times. Like a lot of it's going to be like, oh, I don't want to make my gun super clunky because of the ADS time and like, how fast I can raise my gun. In Warzone, it kind of doesn't matter because you never really like do it. Like in multiplayer, that's how it always is, right? You play shoot house, you run around the corner, he runs around the corner, you shoot, he was faster, he wins. You know what I mean? In Warzone, you see a guy, he doesn't even fucking see you. You're climbing into the attic, he's on the first floor. Like the gunfights are not like instantaneous 50-50s, so it matters a lot less how fast you can raise your gun, which is why on most of my guns you'll see, recoil control, damage range increases, stability, things like that. So you can adjust how you want, but this is how a lot of people value stuff, at least in Warzone. So with the Uzi, there are two unique attachments you'll want to unlock because they basically make the gun. They make the gun competitive and good, which are the 41 AE 32 round mags that I have here. It changes the damage type to port 41 calibers, and it gives you more damage. I mean, not much more to say. It changes the damage profile from like 36 to the chest to like 41 to the chest, which is the difference between a 3 and a 4 shot kill. And of course, that's just maximized. That's just multiplied even more in Warzone. How many shots it will take you to kill versus how many shots it won't take you. 5 shots versus 8 shots is a big difference. And these mags help a lot with that. You unlock them. I believe you have to check for yourself, but by I think you use a standard issue wood stock, and you get 3 hip fire kills in 5 matches or something. That sounds about right. And then you unlock this, and then you use this. You have to be using this to unlock the Carbine Pro. The Carbine Pro is actually like god tier. It's what makes this gun. It's one of the best attachments like in the game. Doesn't mean the Uzi is the best in the game. It just means like this attachment has like no downside pretty much. It says it reduces your ADS. It's like half a frame. It's splitting frames basically, and the movement speed is 1%. Other than that, it gives you a huge like 40% range damage increase. Which what that means is it just means your damage isn't going to fall off. Instead of doing 9 damage, from 20 meters out, you're still going to be doing 22 from that far out, right? So also helps your recoil control. They put this in the game because the Uzi was so bad. That's what it was. It was really bad, and then they put this in the game to improve it, and they put it in like a couple months later, like the beginning of the new year, and it's an insane attachment. So I believe that you have to do 3 long shots in 5 matches while using the 32 run max. Other than that, top it off with the monolithic, a Merc 4 grip. I use this just because I like to be faster while I'm ADSing, because sometimes I like entering a building and shit, and I just want to be like swift. But you can run whatever you want. You can run an optic on it, a laser is fine too. Same thing with the stipple grip. Uzi is really, really nice. Here's my M4. Sure, you could, build an M4 however way you want, but this is the optimal way that I do it. Monolithic Commando 60 round mags, Grenadier stock here. You can run the Corvus if you want. They both give recoil control, damage range, and bullet velocity. Just the Grenadier gives you a little bit more. So this will be a little bit faster, and this will be a little bit more accurate. And like I prefaced, I value the accuracy, so I'll take it here. Tac laser, you can swap this off and run a no stock on it if you're not comfortable with the laser, but it really gives you a lot of benefit. You just got to know how to use it. And how to not give yourself away. The laser only shows up when you're ADSing. It only shows up when you're aiming on sights. If you're not, they can't see it. So you can always play around it. Here's my Bruin that I'm running. You don't have the Bruin unlocked, but when you get it, you should use it. And until then, you should use the PKM. The PKM is really, really solid. I love it. It's actually the only gun that I have gold on, because I stopped playing a ton of multiplayer, but I love the PKM. I run a monolithic on here. This heavy barrel gives you good recoil control and increases your damage range. Snatch grip is unique. It gives you recoil control and improves your ADS speed, which is huge because this is already a clunky boy attack laser, and I run the BLK because I like to challenge snipers with it. I'll show you some of the gameplay. It's really, really good. But when you do unlock the Bruin, Bruin is amazing because it has a 60-round mag, which literally changes everything. It changes everything about the Bruin. I mean, it gives you more ADS speed. Your sprint fire speed is increased. It increases your movement speed by like 5%. And the reload speed is like 1.81 seconds compared to literally 6 seconds on the PKM. Again, you will not be having to reload that often in Warzone with the PKM, so it's not that big of a deal, but it just makes the Bruin that much more versatile. And the skeleton stock is unique to it too, and really helps it be more mobile. MP5 King here, just showing it just because it is what it is. The MP5 is the king currently of close quarters combat. There's no denying it, no getting out of it. 45 round mags, you have plenty of mags to do whatever you want. Merc 4 grip is amazing on this weapon. You can hit fire to your heart's content. Stipple grip tape makes it a little bit better. Collapsible stock here. Normally you'd see me running, like I said, like, you know, something that would help me with my aiming stability or whatever, but here I actually run this because it just makes you fast. It makes you fast. You can slide cancel, run all around the map. That's what I do. It's really good for it. Here's my M13. This thing is a shredder. I mean, really, really good. Simple setup here. Tempest Marksman here. You could run the Tempest Cyclone as it has a built-in suppressor, but the Marksman is better because it gives you recoil control. This thing shreds. I'd recommend you look at this too if you are looking for another AR. Here's the Fennec, which I know you don't have unlocked, but it is, you know, it's a hot point in the community right now. You know, this is what I'm running on it. The death ball is really nice because it gives you recoil control. As you can see, this is terrible for multiplayer. I mean, like, it really bulks you the fuck up. Like, I mean, your ADS is longer, you know, everything. But in Warzone, this is the setup for it for sure. So I'm just playing on a training mode here where I've set up bots to go into a hard point. They're dummy bots, so I mean, they miss all their shots. I also put them on 250 health just so they're what the HP would be in Warzone. So this is actually a really good training mode. You can just shred people down, get used to the recoil on weapons, try different ranges, back up, move in. It's really solid. So here's the Uzi that we were talking about, and it's what I recommend you should level up next, and it's really good. I mean, it's super solid. I know this looks weird, but it's what it is. But I mean, it is definitely a shredder. Again, that's 250 health, so I mean, it's really knocking them out fast. You know, maybe half a clip. There's a hip fire there. You know, normally, maybe say you won't be that close. It still does really well for the ranges that it has. And again, you know, it's like, oh, the MP5 is king, but this is so comparable with the attachments that it's running. I mean, look at it. I mean, it's really nothing you can complain about. I like it a lot, and I think that you would, too. While we're here, here's the M4 that I'm running. I know that I showed you earlier. You know how to build an M4. But this is what I use, and it's a laser. I mean, seriously, it's ridiculous. Like, a lot of times I'll try to get cute and be like, oh, I'm going to use some other fucking gun in Warzone or whatever, but really the answer is the M4. I mean, just more examples. M4 is one of the best guns in the game. I mean, at pretty much any range that you could think of. I mean, you could pop all the way out here and still be shredding them, see things relatively easily. Again, these guys got 250 health, doesn't even matter, still just shreds right through. So M4 is definitely still one of the best guns in the game. Okay, so next up are the LMGs. I have both of them equipped on this class, so I can show you. Here is my Bruin that I'm running, and here's the PKM. Super good in Warzone. You can challenge snipers with it. I mean, and the recoil is basically nothing. Super easy to control. 100 round mag on here. You can put on a higher round mag if you want, but I mean, that's all 6. That was all 6 bots I put on here with 90 bullets just unloaded into them. I mean, it's nuts. So there's that. Bruin obviously is a shredder as well, and I recommend you run it when you unlock it. But same thing, I mean, barely any recoil on this gun. And look at this reload. Look at that. Speaks for itself. I mean, you can reload this thing so quickly. It's so nice. As opposed to this. Just fucking kill me. Like, holy fuck. So, you can definitely see the massive difference in reload speed here. When you unlock the Bruin, use it, but the PKM is not to be messed with. This is a class with MP5 and the M13, which I'm showing off here. M13, I mean, slow ADS. Again, it is slow. If you're playing multiplayer, this is slow, right? Like, I'm coming around the corner, ooh, like, that is, like, I'm like, oh, hey, like, it's slow. But in Warzone, you're going to be taking longer fights. I mean, you want to be able to hit your shots. People are going to be missing. It's nice. And then this MP5, what can I say? I mean, look at the speed on it. It's ridiculous. Just running across the whole map. So, M13 takes more shots to kill, but it's really accurate, right? MP5 basically unmatched right now. It might get a nerf, we're not sure. Keep an eye out. But there's a reason that I have this gun on like 4 of my loadouts. It's just one of the best. So again, I know that you don't have the Fennec unlocked, but this is pretty much a conversation that spurred, you know, me making this. So yeah, I love the Fennec. It's so good. It's a shredder, but its reload speed is a huge liability for it. So I'm running sleight of hand, makes it a little bit better, as you can see, but still in squads, it is really hard. You know, you've got to reload. These guys will be pushing me. You'd be missing shots as well. I mean, really, the range that you'd be using this at, like, you'd be like over here trying to hit this guy, right? Like, which is good. I killed that dude, right? Like, shredded him. But you can see the clip here. I've got 15 bullets left. I could kill someone else, right? From like a similar range. If I'm like here, like exactly. And look, and now I'm trying to reload, and I have sleight of hand on. This is with sleight of hand, right? So I mean, you still have to play around it. And the biggest deal is that when you're using sleight of hand, you're spending that attachment slot instead of using it for something else, like a stipple grip take or a task laser, which the MP5 doesn't have to do. Right, so Fennec is great. It shreds up close. I fucking love it, but I think I'm only gonna run it in solos. I really do. Right. Just a comparison. Here is the Fennec with sleight of hand, and here it is without sleight of hand. Huge difference. I mean, look at this. Okay, I'm ready! So, you get the point. Last thing I want to show you is actually the crossbow. You've probably seen it in my clips before, but it's so good, and it's like a one-hit KO. I mean, seriously. With the Fury Bolt here, it has explosive tips, and those explosives, I mean, they do such a crazy amount in Warzone, because they have an AoE radius, they do damage people, they can kill cars, blow them up in 2 hits, and they one-shot anyone. So if you one-hit someone with this, they will die. Boom. I mean, remember, these bots have 250 health, okay? If you hit someone, they'll go immediately from up to, they'll be downed, and then they'll immediately die instantly because the explosives burn on them after they go down. So if you don't want to snipe, I'd highly recommend looking at the crossbow. It has so much utility, and it's so much fun to use. And it's fun to level up in multiplayer as well.